Get your hands off that equipment before I call the real police! Officer Dale Cunningham's voice boomed across the exhibition hall. His hand shot out and grabbed the girl's backpack. Hard. This area is for actual participants, not thieves. The 16-year-old black girl stepped back. Her voice came out soft, steady. Sir, I am a participant. My booth is number 23. I don't care what number you think you have. Cunningham snatched her poster board. The cardboard ripped. He threw it on the floor. Where'd you steal this stuff? These circuits look expensive. I built them myself. I can show you my... Sure you did. He grabbed her arm. You're coming with me. Now. Around them, white parents turned away. Students stared at their phones. The crowd went silent. Nobody moved to help. Have you ever been accused of a crime just for existing in the wrong place? Her name was Amara Jefferson, 16 years old, junior at Lincoln Technical High School on Chicago's South Side. Every morning started the same way. 5:30 a.m., alarm buzzing in the small bedroom she shared with her grandmother. The apartment smelled like coffee and the faint scent of her grandmother's lavender soap. Amara would sit at the kitchen table under the single overhead light, reviewing notes while her grandmother got ready for her shift at the hospital. 2 buses to school, 45 minutes each way. She'd use the time to code on her refurbished laptop, headphones blocking out the city noise. The screen was cracked in the corner, but it worked. That's all that mattered. Her father had been an electrician, died in a workplace accident when Amara was 12. Her mother was deployed overseas, Army medic, sending money home when she could. The apartment walls were thin. Amara could hear the neighbors arguing most nights, but she'd learned to focus through anything. Straight A's, perfect attendance, National Honor Society, AP Physics, AP Calculus. Every scholarship application she could find, filled out by hand because the school's computer lab closed at 4. But none of that compared to her project, NeuroConnect. That's what she called it. A prosthetic limb controlled by brain signals. Low cost. Accessible. Built from salvaged parts. The idea came from Mr. Washington, her neighbor in apartment 3C. He'd lost his left arm in a factory accident 3 years ago. The insurance company denied his claim. A commercial prosthetic cost $50,000. He couldn't afford it. So he learned to live with one arm, struggling to open doors, to carry groceries, to hug his grandkids with both hands. Amara had watched him for months, took notes, researched neural interfaces and brain-computer connections, started collecting broken electronics from the recycling center near school, motherboards, sensors, wire, anything she could use. 18 months of work. Late nights in the school's cramped science lab. Her teacher, Ms. Carter, would stay late sometimes, helping her troubleshoot code. Weekend mornings at the public library, reading research papers she barely understood at first, then slowly, piece by piece, figuring it out. The prosthetic arm sat on her desk now, wrapped carefully in bubble wrap inside a modified shoebox. It wasn't pretty. The casing was 3D printed plastic, slightly warped. The wiring showed through in places, but it worked. She'd tested it on Mr. Washington last month, connected the sensors to his residual limb, calibrated the algorithm, watched as he thought about moving fingers, and the prosthetic fingers moved. He'd cried. She'd cried. Total cost, $247. She'd won the Illinois State Science Fair in March, first place. The judges couldn't believe it. A low-income student with no institutional funding, no fancy lab, no research grants, just determination and borrowed equipment. That victory qualified her for nationals. The National Youth Science and Innovation Expo in Washington, D.C. Top 50 finalists from all 50 states, competing for the National Medal of Science Youth Division. The prize, $100,000 in scholarship money, presidential recognition, a research internship at MIT or Stanford, a chance to actually manufacture NeuroConnect to get it to people who needed it. Her grandmother had scraped together $400 for the trip. Amara couldn't afford a flight, so she took an overnight Greyhound bus, 14 hours. She'd arrived at the convention center that morning with her backpack, her poster tube, and her project packed carefully in a cardboard box. She wore her school uniform, pressed khakis, a navy blue polo with the school logo. Her sneakers were worn but clean. It was the best she had. The Washington Convention Center was massive, glass walls, marble floors, chandeliers hanging from 30-foot ceilings. The exhibition hall could fit 3 football fields. Inside, the other finalists were setting up. Professional displays, laser-cut signs, printed banners, parents in business suits carrying equipment cases, photographers snapping photos, catered breakfast tables with fruit platters and pastries. Amara's booth was number 23, tucked in a back corner. The space next to her had a 6-foot robot with chrome plating. The booth on her other side had a DNA sequencer with a touchscreen interface. She set down her cardboard box, pulled out her hand-drawn poster boards, unrolled her project documentation, printed on regular copy paper, held together with staples. She took a breath. This was it. Her one shot. The doors would open in 30 minutes. Judges would start their rounds at 9:15. She started setting up, alone. The registration desk sat near the main entrance, staffed by volunteers in matching blue polo shirts. Amara approached at 8 a.m. sharp, her confirmation email pulled up on her phone screen. The woman behind the desk had silver hair pulled into a tight bun. Her name tag read, Jennifer Hartley, Volunteer Coordinator. She was helping a white family, smiling warmly as she handed them visitor badges. Welcome to the Expo. Your daughter's project sounds wonderful. Booth 47 is in the prime center aisle. Amara waited. Jennifer's eyes passed over her, looked to the people behind her. Excuse me, Amara said politely. I'm a finalist. Amara Jefferson, booth number 23. Jennifer's smile disappeared. She looked Amara up and down. The worn sneakers, the school uniform, the cardboard tube under her arm. Booth 23, her voice carried doubt. That's the biomedical engineering section. Yes, ma'am. I'm presenting a neural prosthetic interface. Jennifer turned to her computer, typed slowly, clicked through several screens. Her lips pressed into a thin line. It does show your name here. She paused. Did someone help you with the application? A teacher? Parents? I filled it out myself. Jennifer printed a badge, but instead of the green finalist badge she'd given the white family, she handed Amara a yellow visitor badge. Amara held it up. This says the visitor. I need a finalist badge. Oh. Jennifer's tone suggested this was somehow Amara's fault. Let me reprint it. She did. No apology. Just slid the green badge across the desk and looked past Amara to the next person in line. The exhibition floor was already buzzing. Amara found booth 23 in the back corner, just as she'd expected. Less foot traffic. Farther from the judge's entrance. Booth 22 had a robotics display from Exeter Prep Academy. The robot stood 4 feet tall, polished chrome and carbon fiber. A professional banner hung behind it with the school's crest. 2 parents were arranging spotlights. Booth 24 belonged to Thornton Private Academy, a genetics project with a glass display case and printed DNA models. The student wore a tailored blazer. His mother was on the phone with what sounded like a catering company. Amara's space had a white folding table and a black curtain backdrop. That was it. She set down her box, started unpacking. Her poster boards were hand-drawn, colored with markers. The diagrams were accurate, but they didn't have the glossy, professional look of the boards around her. Excuse me. She turned. A man in a staff polo stood behind her, mid-30s, clipboard in hand. His name tag read Brian Mitchell, Event Coordinator. Are you waiting for the participant? We need all booths set up by 9. I am the participant. Brian looked at her materials, at her cardboard box. His eyebrows raised slightly. Oh. Where's your faculty advisor? Students under 18 need supervision. My mentor is Dr. Patricia Carter from MIT. She's attending virtually. She submitted all the required forms. Brian checked his clipboard. Right, Carter, got it. He walked away, but Amara heard him mutter to another staff member. They really lowered the bar this year. The words hit like a slap. But Amara kept her face neutral. She'd heard worse. She kept unpacking. By 8:30, most booths were ready. The hall filled with the hum of last-minute preparations, parents coaching their kids, photographers adjusting lights, students rehearsing presentations. Amara worked alone. She arranged her poster boards, set up her laptop, carefully placed the NeuroConnect prosthetic on the table. The 3D printed casing looked rough compared to the polished projects around her, but the technology inside was solid. She was connecting the final cable when she felt someone watching. A security officer stood at the edge of her booth. Tall, white, mid-40s. His uniform was dark blue with a private security company patch. His belt held a radio, flashlight, and handcuffs. His name tag read D. Cunningham. He stared at her equipment. His eyes narrowed. Where'd you get this? He pointed at the circuit boards. I built it. It's my project for... Built it? He stepped closer. These components look expensive. I sourced them from recycling centers and donations. I have all the documentation. You have receipts? Amara's stomach tightened. Some parts were donated. I have letters from the donors. It's all in my project binder. Cunningham picked up his radio. Pressed the button. Yeah, this is Cunningham. Got a situation at booth 23. Need you to run a check on some suspicious equipment. Sir, I'm a registered finalist. You can verify with... Anyone can print a badge. He examined her green finalist badge like it might be counterfeit. I'm going to need you to come with me for verification. The doors open in 20 minutes. I need to finish setting up. Cunningham's voice rose. I'm not asking, I'm telling you. He stepped closer, using his height to loom over her. This area is for actual participants, not kids looking to steal equipment. Amara's hands trembled, but she kept her voice steady. I am an actual participant. You can check with the coordinator or the head judge or show me your student ID. She pulled it from her wallet. Lincoln Technical High School. Her photo. Her name. Cunningham barely glanced at it. This doesn't prove you're supposed to be here. For all I know, you snuck in and grabbed someone else's project. That's not... Amara reached for her project binder to show him the documentation. Cunningham's hand shot out. He grabbed her backpack strap. Don't touch anything. If this is evidence, it stays exactly where it is. Evidence of what? I haven't done anything wrong? Her voice carried across the hall. Nearby exhibitors turned to look. Parents pulled their children back. The student at booth 24 lifted his phone, filming. Cunningham yanked one of Amara's poster boards. The corner tore. He tossed it on the floor. You can collect your stuff after we verify you're supposed to be here. Let's go. He grabbed her arm. His fingers dug into her bicep. Amara pulled back instinctively. Sir, please don't touch me. I'll come with you, but please don't. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. His grip tightened. Around them, people watched. A mother whispered to her daughter, Stay away from that booth. Brian Mitchell, the coordinator, saw the commotion. He looked directly at them. Then he turned and walked the other direction. Nobody intervened. Cunningham pulled Amara away from her booth, leaving her project scattered across the table. Her laptop screen still glowed. Her poster board lay on the floor, torn and dirty. He dragged her toward the back hallway, away from the crowd. His radio crackled. Another security officer's voice. Cunningham, you need backup? Nah, just a shoplifter trying to blend in. Got it handled. I'm not a shoplifter, Amara's voice cracked. My name is Amara Jefferson. I'm booth 23. Please just call the head judge, Dr. David Reynolds. He knows me." Cunningham laughed. A cold, mocking sound. "Sure he does. Let me guess. You're his special little project?" The words dripped with sarcasm and something uglier, something Amara recognized. She'd heard that tone before, in stores where security followed her, in restaurants where staff watched her like she might run without paying, in 1,000 small moments that taught her she was suspect until proven otherwise. They reached a back corridor, concrete floors, exposed pipes, no cameras visible. Cunningham finally let go of her arm. Amara rubbed the spot where his fingers had been. It would bruise. "Empty your backpack. Everything, now!" "You can't search my belongings without probable cause." Cunningham's face reddened. "Probable cause? Listen to this one. Been watching TV, lawyers?" He leaned in close. "Either you cooperate, or I call the real cops. Tell them you were belligerent, resisting. See how that goes for you." The threat hung in the stale air. Amara thought about her grandmother, about Mr. Washington, about 18 months of work sitting unguarded in that booth, about her one chance slipping away because a man with a badge decided she didn't belong. She unzipped her backpack. Her hands shook as she pulled out her laptop, her tools, her notebooks, her project documentation. She laid everything on the floor. Cunningham picked through it all with obvious suspicion. He held up her wire cutters. "Why does a science student need these?" "For electrical work. It's standard." "Standard for what? Breaking into things?" He opened her laptop without permission, started scrolling through her files. "What's all this code? You hacking something?" "That's Python. It's a programming language. For the neural interface I built." Neural interface. He said it like she was lying. "Where'd you really get this equipment?" "I told you, I built it. I salvaged parts. I have donor letters." "Salvaged. That's just another word for stolen, isn't it?" Amara's eyes burned. She refused to cry. Not here, not in front of him. The PA system crackled overhead. "Expo doors opening in 5 minutes. Judges will begin rounds at 9:15 a.m. Her booth was empty. Her project was exposed. She wasn't there to present. Cunningham pulled out his phone. "I'm calling the DC Metro Police. Let them sort this out." "Please." The word came out strangled. "Please, sir. This is my one chance. I worked so hard. I can prove everything. Just let me go back." "Should have thought about that before you showed up here with borrowed equipment." He dialed. Amara stood there watching her future slip away, and nobody came to help. The back hallway felt like a cage. Concrete walls, flickering fluorescent lights. The distant sound of the Expo crowd felt like another world. Cunningham held his phone to his ear, waiting for DC Metro Police to pick up. Amara stood with her belongings scattered on the floor. Her chest felt tight. Each breath came shallow. "Yeah, this is Officer Dale Cunningham, private security at the National Youth Science Expo, Washington Convention Center. I've detained a juvenile suspect, possible theft of electronic equipment. Need an officer to verify ownership." "Sir, please," Amara said. "Just call Dr. David Reynolds. He's the head judge. He can verify everything." Cunningham put his hand over the phone. "You're not in a position to make demands." He went back to his call, gave the address, hung up. "They'll be here in 20 minutes. Until then, you stay put." 20 minutes. The judges would finish half their rounds by then. Even if this got cleared up, she'd miss her presentation window. Amara's hands curled into fists. She forced them open, kept her breathing steady. A second security officer appeared. Latino, younger, maybe 30. His name tag read M. Torres. "Dale, what's going on?" "Got a theft situation. Equipment doesn't match her profile." Torres looked at Amara, at the laptop and tools on the floor. "This stuff looks like science supplies. She's at a science expo. That's what I've been trying to tell him, Amara said. Cunningham shot her a look. I didn't ask you to speak. Torres picked up one of Amara's notebooks, flipped through pages of calculations and circuit diagrams. Dale, this is clearly her work. Look at the handwriting. The dates go back months. Could be copied. Could be someone else's research. Copied? Torres closed the notebook. This is detailed. Original annotations. Personal notes. Cunningham snatched the notebook. Just back me up on this, all right? Something's off. Torres looked uncomfortable. He glanced at Amara, then at Cunningham. Finally, he nodded. Brian Mitchell appeared with his clipboard. He looked annoyed. What's the holdup? Her booth is still empty. Cunningham pointed at Amara. Need you to verify if this individual is actually registered. Individual. Not student. Not participant. Brian checked his tablet. She's registered. Amara Jefferson. Booth 23. Biomedical Engineering. Registration might be legit, Cunningham said, but that doesn't explain where she got this equipment. These are expensive components. Where's the proof of purchase? I told you, Amara said. Some parts were donated, some I bought, some I salvaged from recycling. I have documentation. Salvaged. Cunningham turned to Torres and Brian. That's just another word for stolen. She probably grabbed these from trash bins. That's not illegal, Torres said quietly. It is if the equipment was thrown out but still belongs to the company. That's theft of corporate property. Amara felt her world tilting. He was twisting everything. I have permission letters, she said, from the recycling center, from my school, from the donors. Letters can be forged. Cunningham pulled out his phone again. I'm calling the police back, telling them to expedite. Brian shifted uncomfortably. Look, the judges are about to start rounds. If she's registered, maybe... Maybe what? Let her walk off with stolen property? Cunningham's voice turned sharp. You want that liability? Brian looked at Amara. For a moment, she thought he might help. Instead, he checked his watch. Just resolve it quickly. He walked away. The PA system announced, Judges beginning first round. All finalists should be at their booths. Amara felt tears pushing at her eyes. She blinked hard. Please, she whispered. My project is unattended. Someone could damage it. Please. Cunningham crossed his arms. Should have thought about that before. Before what? Before being black at a science fair? The words came out before she could stop them. Silence. Torres looked at the floor. Cunningham's face darkened. You want to play that card? This has nothing to do with race. This is about suspicious activity. What's suspicious? A student at a student science fair? A student whose equipment doesn't match her background. My background? Amara's voice shook. What background is that? Cunningham didn't answer. The implication sat between them. Torres cleared his throat. Dale, maybe you should remember who's the senior officer here. I've been doing this for 20 years. I know it's suspicious when I see it. He picked up Amara's laptop, opened her email, started scrolling. Sir, that's private. You need a warrant. I need probable cause, which I have. Suspected theft. He clicked through her emails, her messages with Dr. Carter, her scholarship applications. Who's Dr. Patricia Carter? My mentor, from MIT. She's been helping me remotely. Remotely? He said it like it was suspicious. So an MIT professor is mentoring a kid from... He glanced at her ID. Lincoln Technical High School? South Side Chicago? Yes. She saw my research proposal and offered to help. Why would she do that? The question hung there. Why would someone important care about someone like you? Because my work is good, Amara said quietly. Cunningham snorted. Right. He kept scrolling. Stopped at an email. What's this? Congratulations on National Medal Finalist Pool. This real? Yes, that's why I'm here. National Medal? You? He laughed, a mocking laugh. What's your GPA? 4.0. At what kind of school? A public magnet school, one of the top STEM programs in Illinois. Public school. He said it dismissively. And they just let you use all this equipment? My teacher stayed late to supervise. I signed equipment logs. I followed every protocol. Cunningham set the laptop down, picked up one of her circuit boards. This soldering work is pretty clean, professional level. You do this yourself? Yes. With no help? My father was an electrician. He taught me before he died. Convenient story. He set the board down. So your dad dies, leaves you with skills, and now you're building medical devices? Amara's throat tightened. It's not a story. It's my life. And where's your mom? Deployed, military. So you're here alone, no supervision. Dr. Carter is attending virtually. My grandmother is in the city. I can call... Your grandmother. Cunningham exchanged a look with Torres. Does she even know you're here? Of course. She helped pay for my bus ticket. Bus ticket? You took a bus from Chicago? I couldn't afford a flight. Cunningham leaned back. A slow smile spread across his face. So let me get this straight. You're a scholarship kid from the South Side. Took a bus 14 hours. Showed up with equipment you built from garbage. No parents. And you expect me to believe you're a national medal finalist? I am a finalist. Oh, I'm sure your name is on some list. Probably some diversity quota thing. He made air quotes. But that doesn't mean you built this. Torres stepped forward. Dale, that's enough. I'm doing my job. Your job is security, not interrogation. My job is protecting this event from people who don't belong. The words landed like stones. The radio crackled. A woman's voice. All units be advised. Head Judge Dr. Reynolds is looking for booth 23 participants. Repeat, requesting Amara Jefferson. Cunningham grabbed the radio. Tell him she's unavailable. Security matters. Copy that. Amara's heart pounded. Dr. Reynolds was looking for her. That's the head judge, she said desperately. He knows me. Please, let me go to him. If he wants to talk, he can come here. My project is unattended. Your project is fine, but Amara knew better. She knew how easy sabotage would be. 18 months, gone in minutes. The tears came, silent, hot. Cunningham saw them and smiled. See? Guilty conscience. That's not... Torres started. Go check the main hall. I've got this. Torres hesitated. Then he left. Amara was alone with Cunningham. No cameras, no witnesses. He stepped closer. Here's what's going to happen, he said quietly. You're going to admit you took this equipment without permission. Tell me where you really got it. Then the cops decide what to do. He paused. Or you can make this easy. Pack up. Leave. Go home. I won't, Amara whispered. I worked too hard. Then you're making a mistake. The PA system crackled. Judges beginning second round. Booth 23, please report. Final call for booth 23. Cunningham smiled. Sounds like you're disqualified anyway. Amara closed her eyes. Her grandmother's voice echoed. Stay strong. Stay dignified. She opened her eyes, looked directly at Cunningham. I'm not going anywhere, and I'm not admitting to something I didn't do. His smile faded. His jaw tightened. We'll see how tough you are when the cops get here. Footsteps echoed in the hallway. Multiple people, moving fast. Cunningham turned toward the sound. A man's voice boomed. Officer, what is happening here? Dr. David Reynolds stood at the end of the hallway. 62 years old, silver hair, wire-rimmed glasses, navy blazer over white shirt. His face was tight with controlled fury. Behind him stood Catherine Wu, the Expo director. Tailored black suit, tablet in hand. Her expression could freeze water. Behind them, 3 more judges, all of them looking at Cunningham like he was something scraped off a shoe. "I asked you a question, officer." Dr. Reynolds' voice was ice. "What is happening here?" Cunningham straightened, put on his professional face. "Security matter, sir. Suspected theft. I'm handling it." "Suspected theft?" Dr. Reynolds walked closer. Each step is deliberate. "Theft of what?" "She has equipment that doesn't match her background. Expensive components. No proof of ownership." Her background. Dr. Reynolds stopped 3 feet from Cunningham. "Explain that statement." Cunningham's confidence wavered. "I mean, she's a student. The equipment looks professional. I was verifying—" "You were verifying nothing." Dr. Reynolds turned to Amara. His expression softened. "Amara, are you all right? Did he hurt you?" Amara's voice came out shaky. "He grabbed my arm, searched my things without permission, kept me here for 40 minutes. Dr. Reynolds' jaw clenched. He turned back to Cunningham. "This young woman is Amara Jefferson, one of 3 finalists for the National Medal of Science Youth Division. I have been her remote mentor for 14 months. I have reviewed every component of her project, every circuit, every line of code." Cunningham's face went pale. "I didn't know." "You didn't ask." Dr. Reynolds pulled a folder from under his arm, opened it. "Here is her complete documentation. Receipts, donation letters, permission forms, time logs showing 18 months of work. All verified, all legitimate." He held the pages up. Cunningham didn't reach for them. Catherine Wu stepped forward. Her heels clicked on concrete. "Officer Cunningham, you detained a national medal finalist?" "Ma'am, I was doing my job. She looked suspicious." "Looked suspicious how?" Catherine's voice could cut steel. "Be specific." "She had expensive equipment and she's from—" He stopped. "From where?" Catherine waited. "Finish that sentence." Silence. "Because she's black?" Dr. Michelle Johnson stepped forward. The neuroscience researcher, also black. Her voice is quiet but lethal. "Is that what you're not saying?" "No, that's not— I didn't—" "For what?" Dr. Anjali Patel cut in. "For a teenage girl? For a public school student?" Cunningham's mouth opened, closed. No words came. A student appeared at the hallway's end, Asian, male, early 20s, from booth 24. He held up his phone. "Excuse me, I recorded everything. From the beginning." Catherine turned to him. "You recorded this?" "Yes, ma'am, I was worried. The way he grabbed her looked wrong." "Send that to me immediately." The student's fingers flew across his screen. "Sent." Catherine opened the video on her tablet. The audio played clearly. Cunningham's voice. "This area is for actual participants, not kids looking to steal equipment." The sound of the poster tearing. Amara's calm voice. "Sir, I am a participant." Cunningham's response. "Sure you are." Catherine watched the entire video in fast forward. The illegal search, the mocking questions, the threats. Her expression grew darker. When it finished, she looked at Cunningham. "You're relieved of duty. Badge and radio. Now." "Ma'am, please. I can explain. I made a judgment call. A judgment call based on racial profiling." Catherine held out her hand. "Badge, radio, phone, all of it." "I have a family. I need this job." "You should have thought about that before you assaulted a minor." Catherine's hand didn't waver. "Everything. Now." Cunningham's hands shook as he unclipped his badge, his radio, handed them over. Dr. Reynolds turned to Amara. Amara, I am profoundly sorry. This should never have happened. We're going to get your project set up. You'll have an extended time. My booth? Is my equipment still there? Everything's intact. Some items scattered, but nothing damaged. Catherine was already on her phone. Yes, this is Catherine Wu, Expo Director. I need DC Metro Police at the Washington Convention Center immediately. We have assault, illegal detention, and civil rights violations involving a minor. She paused. Yes, the suspect is secured. We have video evidence. Cunningham's face was drained of color. You're calling the police? On me? You called them on an innocent child, Dr. Johnson said coldly. Turnabout is fair play. Torres, the other security officer, reappeared. Saw the crowd, saw the judges, saw Cunningham without his badge. Dale, what did you do? I made a mistake, Cunningham whispered. I'm sorry. I didn't know. You didn't want to know. Dr. Reynolds' voice was quiet now, more dangerous. You saw a black teenager with scientific equipment, and you assumed criminality. You assumed she didn't belong. I was trying to protect... You were protecting your own prejudices. Footsteps echoed. 2 DC Metro police officers appeared. Real ones. Official uniforms. Someone called about an assault? Catherine pointed at Cunningham. This man illegally detained a 16-year-old finalist, searched her without cause, physically grabbed her, destroyed her property. We have video and witnesses. The female officer looked at Cunningham. Sir, turn around and place your hands behind your back. Wait, please. This is a misunderstanding. Turn around. Hands behind your back. Cunningham looked at Torres, at the judges, at Catherine, finally at Amara. She stared back, calm, dignified, tears still wet on her cheeks but her spine straight. The handcuffs clicked. You have the right to remain silent. The Miranda rights echoed in the concrete hallway. Cunningham's face crumbled. His career, his reputation, his freedom, all collapsing because he'd seen only skin color. The officers led him away. Dr. Reynolds turned to Amara, gently placed a hand on her shoulder. Let's get you to your booth. You have a presentation to give. And Amara? He smiled. You're going to win. They walked back to the exhibition hall. Dr. Reynolds on one side of Amara, Dr. Johnson on the other hand. Catherine Wu led the way, her heels clicking with purpose. The expo buzzed with activity. Judges circulating, families admiring projects. Nobody knew what had just happened in the back hallway. But word was spreading. Students whispered. Parents stared. Booth 23 suddenly had an audience. Amara's project materials were scattered across the table. Her poster board lay on the floor, one corner torn. Her laptop was still open. Someone had bumped the table. Her prosthetic arm had shifted, wires exposed. Dr. Reynolds immediately began organizing. Dr. Park, can you help with the circuit boards? Dr. Patel, the poster needs repair. We'll use tape from the registration desk. They worked together. These distinguished professors on their hands and knees, fixing what Cunningham had destroyed. Other students approached. The young man from booth 24 came over first. I'm Kevin Carter. If you need anything, extra supplies, whatever, just ask. A girl from booth 22, white, blonde, probably 17. I'm so sorry. I saw what happened. I should have said something. I should have helped. Amara looked at her. Why didn't you? The girl's face reddened. I don't know. I was scared. It felt safer to look away. Her voice cracked. That was wrong. I'm sorry. More students came forward, offering help, offering apologies. Some had witnessed the initial confrontation. Some had only heard about it. All of them looked ashamed. Jennifer Hartley, the registration volunteer, appeared at the edge of the booth. Her face was blotchy. She'd been crying. Amara, I need to apologize. The way I treated you at registration, I made assumptions. Terrible assumptions. I'm so sorry. Catherine Wu turned to Jennifer. Her expression was granite. Mrs. Hartley, you're suspended pending review. We'll be examining security footage from the registration desk. If we find a pattern of discriminatory behavior, you're terminated. Jennifer's face crumbled. Please. I've volunteered for 15 years. Then you should have known better. Catherine's tone left no room for argument. Leave, now! Jennifer walked away, shoulders shaking. Brian Mitchell, the event coordinator, approached next. He looked sick. Amara, I saw Cunningham detaining you. I should have stopped it immediately. Instead, I walked away. He swallowed hard. That was cowardice. I'm deeply sorry. Catherine pulled him aside, spoke in low tones. Brian's face went pale. He nodded, walked away without another word. What did you tell him? Dr. Johnson asked. Written reprimand, mandatory bias training, one more incident, and he's gone. Catherine's eyes followed Brian. People who look away are almost as guilty as people who act. At 10:30, Amara's booth was ready, better than before. The judges had brought professional mounting tape. Kevin Carter had donated a printed banner with her project name. Someone had even brought flowers. Dr. Reynolds checked every connection, tested every circuit. It's perfect, he said. Better than perfect. You're ready. Amara stood behind her booth, straightened her polo shirt, took a deep breath. I missed 2 judge rounds. You'll present to all of them together. Catherine pulled out her phone, made a call. Attention all judges. Special presentation at booth 23 in 5 minutes. Mandatory attendance. She hung up, looked at Amara. Every judge will see your work. You'll have 45 minutes instead of 15. And Amara? Catherine's expression softened for the first time. What happened to you today represents everything wrong with our society. What you're about to show them represents everything right about the next generation. Make it count. 5 minutes later, all 8 judges gathered around booth 23. Dr. Reynolds, Dr. Johnson, Dr. Patel, Dr. Park. 4 others Amara hadn't met yet. They stood in a semicircle, notebooks ready. Behind them, a crowd formed. Students, parents, staff. Word had spread through the entire expo. The girl who'd been racially profiled, the finalist who'd been detained. Everyone wanted to see what she'd built. Catherine Wu stood at the back, arms crossed, face unreadable. Somewhere in the convention center, Dale Cunningham sat in a holding cell. His uniform was taken. His badge is gone. His career was destroyed. Here, under fluorescent lights, surrounded by people who finally believed in her, Amara Jefferson prepared to prove exactly why she belonged. Dr. Reynolds smiled at her. Whenever you're ready. Amara looked at her project, at NeuroConnect, at 18 months of work built from salvaged parts and sheer determination. She looked at the judges, at the crowd, at all the people watching. Then she began to speak. Amara's voice was steady, clear. She'd practiced this presentation 1,000 times in her grandmother's living room. NeuroConnect is a low-cost prosthetic limb controlled by a brain-computer interface. Traditional prosthetics cost between $40,000 and $60,000. Mine costs $247. She held up the prosthetic arm. The 3D printed casing caught the light. Wires visible through the semi-transparent plastic. The technology uses electroencephalography sensors to detect neural signals. When the user thinks about moving their hand, the sensors pick up specific brainwave patterns. My algorithm translates those patterns into motor commands. She connected the sensors to a volunteer headset. Dr. Park stepped forward, offered his arm for demonstration. Think about closing your fist, Amara instructed. Dr. Park concentrated. The prosthetic fingers curled closed. The crowd gasped. Think about opening. The fingers extended. This isn't a pre-programmed movement, Amara explained. This is real-time neural interpretation. The user learns to control it naturally within hours, not months. She pulled up her laptop, showed the code. The machine learning algorithm she'd written line by line. I trained the model using open-source neural data sets, optimized it for low-power consumption. The entire system runs on a battery that lasts 16 hours and costs $12 to replace. Dr. Johnson leaned forward. How did you solve the signal noise problem? Neural data is notoriously messy. I implemented a Kalman filter with adaptive noise reduction. It learns the user's baseline brain activity and filters out everything else. Dr. Johnson's eyebrows raised. That's graduate-level signal processing. I read a lot of research papers, Amara said quietly. She showed her documentation, page after page, circuit diagrams, test results, iteration logs, photos of Mr. Washington trying the prototype, tears on his face as he moved mechanical fingers for the first time in 3 years. I tested this on 3 local amputees. All of them achieved functional control within 6 hours. One of them can now tie his shoes, open doors, hold his grandchildren. Her voice cracked slightly on the last word. Medical devices shouldn't be luxuries. They should be accessible. That's why I built this. 45 minutes later, she finished. The crowd erupted in applause. Not polite applause, real applause. Thunderous. Dr. Reynolds had tears in his eyes. That was extraordinary. The judges huddled, whispered, took notes. After 5 minutes, they separated. Dr. Patel spoke first. Technical execution, 10 out of 10. Innovation, 10 out of 10. Real-world application, 10 out of 10. Each judge echoed similar scores. Perfect marks across every category. Catherine Wu stepped forward. Amara Jefferson, on behalf of the National Youth Science Expo, I am honored to inform you that you are the recipient of this year's National Medal of Science, Youth Division. The crowd exploded. Students cheered. Parents applauded. Kevin Carter whistled through his fingers. Amara stood frozen. Then she started crying. Not sad tears. Relief. Joy. Victory. Dr. Reynolds hugged her. I told you. I told you you'd win. But the story didn't end there. Kevin Carter's video had already gone viral. He'd posted it to Twitter 2 hours ago with the caption, Black teen scientist racially profiled and detained at National Science Expo. Watch what happens next. 2 hours, 12,000 retweets, 50,000 likes. By noon, it had 1 million views. By evening, 20 million. News crews arrived at the convention center. Local stations first, then national networks, CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, NBC. They all wanted the story. Amara stood in front of cameras, her national medal hanging around her neck. I'm grateful for the judges who believed in me, she said. But this shouldn't have happened. Officer Cunningham looked at me and saw a criminal. Not a scientist. Not a student. Just a black girl who didn't belong. The reporter leaned in. What do you want people to learn from this? That bias has consequences. That we need to do better. And that young scientists of color deserve the same respect as everyone else. The clip played on every major news network that night. Hashtags spread across social media. Justice for Amara. NeuroConnect. Black girls in STEM. The posts multiplied by the thousands. University admissions offices took notice. MIT called first, then Stanford, then Caltech, Carnegie Mellon, Harvard, Princeton. Dr. Reynolds fielded the calls personally. Gentlemen, ladies, I appreciate your interest, but Amara will make her own decision. Medical device companies reached out, wanted to license NeuroConnect, wanted to manufacture it, wanted to partner with this 16-year-old genius. A venture capitalist offered $1.2 million for the patent rights. Amara would retain 20% equity. She sat in a conference room at the convention center, her grandmother beside her, and signed the contract with shaking hands. GoFundMe campaigns appeared overnight. Support Amara's research. Fund Second Chance's STEM. Within 3 days, they'd raised $500,000. But Dale Cunningham's story was spreading too. Investigative journalists dug into his background, found 12 complaints of racial profiling over 8 years, found the real reason he'd left Metro PD, a lawsuit, settled quietly, a black teenager wrongfully detained. The department had paid $60,000 to make it go away. His previous employer, a security company in Baltimore, confirmed he'd been fired for similar incidents. He'd lied on his application to the D.C. firm. The private security company that had hired him released a statement. "We are appalled by Mr. Cunningham's actions. His employment is terminated. We are implementing comprehensive bias training for all staff. This will never happen again." But the public wanted more than corporate apologies. 6 weeks later, Dale Cunningham stood in D.C. Superior Court. The courtroom was packed. Journalists, activists. Amara sat in the front row with her grandmother and Dr. Reynolds. The charges were read: civil rights violation under 18 U.S.C. Section 242, false imprisonment, illegal search and seizure, destruction of property. The prosecution presented the video. 40 minutes of undeniable evidence. Cunningham's voice, his actions, his bias laid bare. Character witnesses testified, former colleagues, people he'd profiled before. A pattern emerged. Clear, damning. Cunningham's lawyer argued it was a misunderstanding, an honest mistake. The jury deliberated for 4 hours, guilty on all counts. The judge was a black woman in her 50s, Judge Denise Harper. She looked at Cunningham without mercy. "Mr. Cunningham, you abused your position of authority. You targeted a minor based solely on the color of her skin. You attempted to destroy her future because you couldn't see past your own prejudice." Cunningham stood with his head bowed. "This court will not tolerate such discrimination. 18 months federal prison, $50,000 fine, paid directly to Ms. Jefferson as restitution, 5 years probation upon release, mandatory bias counseling, and you are permanently barred from any position in security or law enforcement." The gavel fell. Cunningham's wife sobbed in the gallery. His children stared at the floor. His lawyer gathered papers silently. Amara watched him being led away in handcuffs. She felt no joy, no satisfaction, just a quiet sense that justice, finally, had been served. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed. "How do you feel about the verdict?" Amara stood at the microphone. "I feel that the system worked. Not perfectly, not quickly enough. But it worked. Officer Cunningham will face consequences. That matters. What's next for you?" "I started MIT in the fall. I'm continuing work on NeuroConnect, and I'm launching a non-profit to provide STEM equipment to underfunded schools. No student should have to build their dreams from garbage because their school can't afford supplies." The cameras flashed. The reporters scribbled. Amara Jefferson, the girl who'd been told she didn't belong, was rewriting the future. 6 months later. The MIT campus stretched out under autumn sun. Red brick buildings, students rushing between classes. The air smelled like coffee and fallen leaves. Amara Jefferson sat in the biomedical engineering lab. Her lab now. Full scholarship. Private research station. Equipment she'd only dreamed about. NeuroConnect 2.0 sat on the workbench. Sleeker than the original, more refined, but built on the same principle: accessibility for everyone. The licensing deal had gone through. A medical device startup was manufacturing the prosthetic. Retail price, $800. Already, 500 patients were using it, living fuller lives. Mr. Washington had been the first customer. He'd insisted on paying, even though Amara offered it free. "You earned this," he'd said. "Don't undervalue your work." Now he could hug his grandchildren with both arms. Dr. Reynolds knocked on the lab door. "Amara, you have visitors." 3 children walked in. Middle schoolers. 2 black girls and 1 Latino boy. Wide eyes, nervous smiles. "These are students from Second Chances STEM," Dr. Reynolds explained. "Your nonprofit's first scholarship recipients." Amara's nonprofit had launched 3 months ago, funded by GoFundMe donations, restitution money from Cunningham, her own patent earnings. Second Chances STEM provided equipment, mentorship, and supplies to underfunded schools. 50 schools so far, 5,000 students. "You built that from trash?" one girl asked, pointing at the original NeuroConnect. "From salvaged parts," Amara corrected gently. "There's no shame in using what's available. Some of the best innovations come from limitations." The boy pulled out a circuit board, homemade, rough soldering. "I'm building a water purification sensor for my neighborhood, but I can't get the readings right." Amara took the board, examined it. "Your concept is solid, but you need a different resistor here. Let me show you." They spent an hour together. Amara teaching. The kids are learning, asking questions, dreaming out loud. This was why she'd fought, why she'd stood up to Cunningham, why she'd refused to leave that hallway. Not just for herself, for every kid who'd been told they don't belong. After the kids left, Amara stood at the window, watched students crossing campus, so many taking their access for granted. Her phone buzzed, a news alert. Dale Cunningham released on parole after 9 months. She read the article. He'd served half his sentence. Good behavior. Now living in a halfway house, working at a warehouse. His security license was permanently revoked. Some said 9 months wasn't enough, but Amara understood. The punishment wasn't just prison, it was everything after. The inability to get decent work, the public record, the fact that anyone who Googled his name would find that video. Forever. He'd face consequences for the rest of his life. That was justice. Her phone buzzed again. A text from her grandmother. "Proud of you, baby. Your daddy would be proud, too." Amara smiled, typed back. "Love you, Grandma." She thought about her father, the electrician who'd taught her to solder, who'd shown her that working with your hands and your mind weren't opposites, who'd believed she could do anything. He'd been gone for 6 years, but his lessons remained. Stay curious, stay humble, stay persistent, and never let anyone tell you where you don't belong. Amara turned back to her workbench. NeuroConnect 2.0 needed calibration. She had 3 meetings tomorrow with potential donors. Congressional testimony next week about STEM accessibility. The work never stopped. She picked up her soldering iron, got back to work, because the real revolution wasn't just the technology she built. It was making sure every kid, regardless of race or zip code, got the chance she almost lost. That was the future worth fighting for. So if this story moved you, don't just watch. Act. Share it. Comment below with your experiences. Have you ever been judged before anyone knew your story? Have you seen discrimination and stayed silent? Hit subscribe to Blacktail's Stories to follow more stories like Amara's. Stories where justice prevails, where underdogs win, where truth comes to light. Check the description for links to Second Chances STEM. Donate equipment, volunteer, mentor a student. Your old laptop could change someone's life. And if you see discrimination happening, speak up. Film it. Be the witness someone needs. Be the person who doesn't look away. Here's my question for you. If Kevin Carter hadn't filmed Officer Cunningham's actions, would justice have been served? How many brilliant students never get their moment because no one was watching? Drop your thoughts below. Let's keep this conversation going, because every Amara deserves her chance, and every Cunningham needs to face consequences. That's how we change the world. One story at a time.